The first one was to pull in the dates for Mod 4 because we were right on the critical path. And I'll walk you through the slides. And I know when I was talking to Manasa, when I was talking to many of the team members, Satnam, it's impossible. It's impossible to do it. You're trying to bring it in by a couple of months. But it really meant a lot to the business. It really gives us a chance to not be on the critical path. And I'm happy to say, and I know that Abhi and Manasa are going to walk through a few slides. I think we're in pretty good shape, and the quality of the submission is also fantastic. The second thing that I'm really proud about is similarly, there was a very audacious task that was given to the lab team to make a lot of changes to or enhancements to our assay, especially as we've been trying to get CV done. And it is also very critical for the company. CV is our clinical validation, which we want to try and get done by the end of August. It's also on the critical path for our Mod 6. And that team has also stepped up dramatically to do the impossible. So this all hands today is dedicated to all of you who have been working really hard and helping Grail get to a really good place with the submission of Mod 4 as well as successful CV. And whenever I need the clicker, the clicker is not working. But so today is July 29th. It's about five months, and time really flies. I remember in October, November of last year, we were planning for 2025. At the beginning of the year, we had our goals, and more than half of the year is done. And it's also an opportunity to really take a forward-looking view at what we have achieved in the first half of this year, where we are. There's another exciting thing that's going on is Ed, Milan, and others are helping drive what is the 3-year vision for, especially within the software and IT, for our whole org, right? On the cybersecurity side, what is it that we want to try and accomplish? So we've had, I think, 2 presentations. There was one that was there yesterday for about an hour with the ET, and we do expect that there'll be 2 more. So really taking a forward-looking view based on where Grail is, based on the needs of the business, and where we want to try and get to. And then there's a number of other exciting events happening for those who are based out of MPK, and this room is packed. There's the annual conference that is, or the annual summer picnic that's going to be happening outside on Thursday, August 14th. We have one more in RTP happening the next day, and then in London, or maybe I got it the other way around. It's happening the next day on Friday in London, and then on Saturday at RTP. So hope to see you all. The agenda for today is the same that we have. I'll try and give a little bit of a business overview of how things are happening, and we have a number of exciting projects. We'll be having the team come up and give that, and then as usual, it's really crucial for us. We want to invest in you. Our talent is the strength of Grail. Martha and team do a fantastic job at all of the investments that we make in talent. So I'll give you a quick update, and then we'll end with 2 big slides with all of the achievements. There's a lot of pent-up work that the team has done, so I really hope to get there. And one thing I'll say is I've been doing something called Munch and Mingle, and I have a slide. Dolores has done a fantastic job at setting this thing up. And one of the things that they ask is in the all hands, why are we not able to have some more time for questions? We do try, but there's a lot of content that comes in. That's one of the reasons why we will be having this Munch and Mingle. There's probably about 5 of them that we do on a weekly basis. And the idea is that I would like to meet with everybody on a quarterly basis, right? So do not be surprised. I think that's also a great opportunity to ask questions. But let's go through the content. This is going to be mainly informational, give you a wide view of what's happening in the business, what's happening within our team, and what the future looks like, and really give a shout out to all of the incredible work that all of you are doing. So see these beautiful pictures, by the way. All of the pictures, most of the pictures have been changed from the last all hands. Any picture that comes in and is sent to Martha, has a very high probability of being in the next all hands. So this is another encouragement. And you see the platform team. One of the other view is that's the view from Bob's office. So clearly, big transformation within that area. That area used to be dead, hardly any energy, and I think now it's one of the most. I see Sudarshan laughing. He's a few blocks away, and the lab team is just a little bit ahead. So they're also going to be competing with the platform team to try and raise the energy level there. Okay, let's begin with the grand picture, right? So this is the same slide that has been presented that we have built about 3 years back. On the left-hand side, it talks about the framework. On the right-hand side are the company goals. They're really simple. There are 5 very simple goals. It has to do with, as a public company, you always have to worry about the top line. The top line means the amount of dollars that you bring in, and we have one product, which is the Gallery commercial product, as well as we have the PDX business. That's where money comes in. The second goal is and we have a commercial team that's led by Milan and team that works very closely with the business to make sure that we're helping on the commercial side. The next is you always have to think about the bottom line. The bottom line is the amount of money that the company spends. And you want to bring that down as much as possible. That's what moves the stock. And we have goals associated with this year where we have told publicly that our cash burn is going to be less than $320 million. And we have a number that we want to try and hit ourselves as a group. You may remember that about 3 months back, when we went on this journey with the Mod 4, when we went on this journey associated with the NIST transformation, we were given an additional $4 million to be able to make sure that we are able to hit those timelines. We've kind of spent the money. So we want to make sure that we are able to hit the numbers that we are given. So watch every dollar. That is the bottom line. Save every single dollar that you can. The third area is of course, we want to try and we are on the path of reimbursement. We have to get FDA approval. That's where all of the work that's happening with Mod 2, Mod 4 comes in. Next, Mod 5 and Mod 6 will be submitted at the end of the year. That's the third level. Those are the key pieces that we influence. The next one is associated with building the ecosystem and the awareness about Grail. And the last one is helping the research team, which has some pretty audacious goals on bringing down our COGS as well as the next version of Gallery. When someone asks you, so this is the same slide that's been there at the beginning of the year, and they ask you, how is Grail doing? You should be talking only about what is publicly known, right? So the key points here are we will be growing in 2025 between 20 and 30%. So that's one. Number 2 is our bottom line. Our cash burn is less than $320 million for the year, and 3 big milestones for this year: PMA submission in the first half of 2026, followed by the Pathfinder 2 and the NHS data readout in the middle of 2026, and then cash runway till 2028. So these are the only talking points that you should be talking about. That is publicly known. So this slide, I've had it in every single all hands since we went public, and it really talks about our strategy, and even in the munch and mingles, right? So if everyone can memorize this, it more or less talks about what is our strategy, right? So last year we launched with MSED-I, the new platform. It helps to scale, it helps to bring our costs down. So that's what was achieved last December. It's been running. The next piece is, there's a lot of work happening with the legislation from our DC team. And then two big boxes, I'll talk a little bit about just to reinforce the interim results, both from the NHS Gallery as well as from Pathfinder 2. And then reimbursement, that's where the Mod 4 comes in. And then we want to be able to expand both in the US and the UK and then internationally. This is our general strategy across what Grail is executing on. So then the next question is what is our role? And you can really broadly bring it down into three main components. So the first one is there's a lot of logic, there's a lot of infrastructure that has been built out on the lab software side. This includes the work to be able to call the LIMS, that forms the backbone of all of the samples going through. The new Atlas and TAN infrastructure that has the intelligence and the logic to be able to follow every sample through our automated system. It's also, the second area is if you look at all the commercial business, if you look at other companies in the space, software continues to innovate. Even after your assay is done, your physical lab is locked, the innovation and the pace associated with being able to make changes continues. And the commercial piece is a very good example. I was having a conversation with Tristan just yesterday, and we were talking about the frequency of releases, right? So if you are in a non-regulated company, if you're a startup, you would probably be pushing to production once or twice a day. Of course, we are a regulated company, and we have a lot of change control in process. We are seeking every approval. Change control is a big deal. So maybe being able to push to production a couple of times, or every a month or every 2 weeks is the right frequency that the business needs. And then there's a lot of infrastructure that has been put together, whether it's the infrastructure on the data lake or the enterprise apps on the IT side, or it is the sys infra. So that's the third big bucket. I think it's worthwhile to take a look from the perspective of this beautiful diagram that has been put together. I think many people have been working on it, Manasa, Avi. I know that Olga reviewed it and enhanced it. But this is our master diagram that is being submitted to the FDA. On the left-hand side, you can see the process flow. You can see what's happening on the left-hand side within the on-prem infrastructure. You can see what's happening on the AWS side. That's the big black box, and it has many, many boxes inside it. The red boxes are the ones that are currently marked as a medical device. Of course, we submitted in. The final call of what components are a part of the medical device is really going to be decided by the FDA, and we will continue to have that negotiation. We have a complicated workflow. We have many, many systems that need to come together. There are things associated, for example, from accessioning, the samples coming into the lab, opening the boxes. It is going through the wet lab mechanism, being able to build somebody. So there are many, many systems that all have to work together. And the second piece is dealing with the patient and the provider portal at the top. And the test report generation service is also part of the medical device. That's the box on the top, right inside the one that's right at the top. Then there are many, many components that underpin the samples within the lab, which begins with the LIMS system, the work associated with the pre-post pieces, the work associated with Atlas and TAN that orchestrate. And then there's a third component of being able to run this at scale. And this is where SysInfra or Olga's team basically runs our samples through. There are 4 boxes that you see over there that they're all part of the medical device. And then we try and put all of this together into a data lake. Gajanan and team run that, and those are the big pieces within the perspective of the medical device. You can't change it now. You can't switch out the LIMS, for example, but you potentially could for the next version in 2029, 2030. So those are some of the big questions that Tristan and others are going to try and formulate. Okay, I mentioned about the bottom line. I mentioned about being judicious about our spend. It's prioritization and how the ET runs the different programs, right? Everything is a contract. If there's some changes in a particular program, it has to go back to approval for the ET. This is the framework that is used at Grail. And then, I think, I love this slide merely because always think about whatever you are doing, how much business value is it actually adding? What impact is it having on Grail's goals for the year, right? So that's on the y-axis, and the x-axis is the effort. Obviously, you want to be in the top left-hand side box where you're able to add a huge amount of business value with very little effort. Just a reminder, we had our pivotal Pathfinder 2 study, and some of the key aspects. Our specificity is at 99.5% in that study. Our positive predictive value, that is, if you have a test, what's the probability of a test coming out to be positive, is about 43%. And then our CSO accuracy for that Pathfinder study was at 88%. So now we were able, you have seen these announcements in the month of June, both for NHS Gallery as well as for Pathfinder 2. Very, very similar. What we've said publicly is we are excited about the results, and we're seeing substantially higher PPV. And the reason why no other details have come in yet is because we want to make sure that we get a nice publication out of it. So it should be coming out in the next few months. And with that, this is the same slide from last time. Wanted to show you on what is going to be happening. So we have breakthrough status with the FDA. This allows us to work through a module-based submission as opposed to having one submission at the end, which is going to be very, very big. We've been working with the FDA for the last 3-4 years, and we've been submitting modules. Module 4 is our software and cybersecurity module, and then after that, there are going to be 2 inspections that's going to be happening. So the first one is associated with BIMO, and many of you have been working on BIMO, biomedical, and then the second one is associated with our submission. So FDA is going to come in and check, what we submitted, whether it maps or not. So with that, let me invite Abhi to come give a quick update. First of all, it's been fantastic to have Abhi. He's been here for about 6-7 weeks. Has a huge impact on our submission for Mod 4, as well as to lead our cybersecurity team. Come in, Abhi.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Satnam, for a great introduction here. Can you guys hear me all okay? Okay, great. And hopefully people online can also hear me. So if you haven't noticed, I'm from Midwest. Ed noted me right away on the airport on my first day. He said, "Are you from Midwest?" I said, "Yes, I am." So that the reason why I'm mentioning that is because I-94 is a corridor in Chicago that has all the pharma big giants out there: Astella Pharma, Walgreens, Abbott, AbbVie, Hospira, Baxter, Takeda, CVS, and Medline. So quite a number of Fortune 500 companies. Now, why I'm mentioning that is because I've been with a couple of them in my career, and any company that has been successful over the years would know that they have to constantly innovate and be successful. It's not done one time. They will die to be like Grail. The power of innovation, the free thinking, and the openness in sharing ideas and then accepting other ideas. I really see other positives of this company. In last 6 weeks I've been here, you all have really welcomed me, listened to my ideas and accepted some of them, rejected many of them. And I'm continuously working with you to show you the ways that we can continue to be innovative and advanced in our thought process that reflects in our product and services that we offer. So that's a quick, third day impression, and I'll continue to work with you all, learning from you, just to, understand what being a trailer means. And for me, it's really the ideas and the spirit of energy that we bring in to innovate every day. I won't get into the slides. I know there are a ton of slides that we have to cover, but you all know me from many announcements and many discussions we have had one-on-ones, and I look forward to continue to just share my experience with you. And so that's a quick background on me. Going back to the next slide. So US NIST quarterly progress. That's a slide I think we review with the AP and the board on a quarterly basis. So it's very essential for us to constantly make progress on the different projects or the initiatives that are associated with cybersecurity and IT and the software advances that we are making. It's important for two reasons. One is that when we submit our responses to FDA, they like to understand the framework that we adapt to and how we are making progress against them. That's an industry standard, and everybody associates with the terminology and the way we explain our progress in terms of controls and maturity. So as you can see, we've come across a long way at Grail in making progress across the 6 domains, which is govern, identify, protect, detect, recover, and then overall maturity that most of our shareholders, board members, and the EP would like to understand. I won't get into the detail except making up a quick key point here is that we are 3.01 as of mid-year June, and we are striving to achieve 3.9 and make further progress in December. It's a highly watched out number in terms of the maturity that we are making. It reflects the progress we have made so far across the enterprise that impacts our product. And then ultimately, how are we spending our money? Is it making any difference in our environment in protecting the data that we process? This slide quickly is something that we have recently introduced. Why? Because I like to start quantifying the outcomes that we are now measuring in terms of controls that we are implementing. And the reason why we are doing that is that how do we know that something that we've implemented as a control is effective? How can I measure it in terms of KPI, KRIs? And ultimately, you'll see us in the next 6 months, we try to align the business objectives and to what cybersecurity is doing against those objectives. So it will become more and more quantifiable. And just like how you read an annual report in terms of finances, you should be able to make some sense out of the numbers that you see, how secure we are, how much money are we spending in keeping our data secure, and what else we need to do as we continue this journey. I won't get into the numbers here. I think you all can read through it and make sense out of it. And the next slide, this is something that I just shared together as a team. Manasa and the whole software leadership team has really helped us in moving forward. Our partnership with quality and regulatory team has been very key in finalizing the responses that we are drafting for FDA. So a quick highlight here is that there are 6 key areas that the FDA asked us to respond. And we divided them into 9 observations that are more specifically associated with the 6 cybersecurity processes that were identified by FDA. And we are making consistent progress in responding back to them. The key areas here are the cybersecurity, MSET, cybersecurity management plan, and then threat modeling process and risk management report. And collectively, we are also reflecting the approach to how to respond to FDA, which is by consolidating some of the documents that we may have submitted in past. And then we are getting some really good help from our third-party vendor, Medcrypt, who's assisting us in really drafting the technical responses. And again, Manasa is working really closely with the risk assessment process, threat modeling process with FDA, Medcrypt, who are also former FDA consultants in their past lives. Next slide, please. And then finally, some key highlights here. I won't get into the details, but essentially what we are doing is that we are aligning our cybersecurity risk management process to industry standard. And that's how our risk management practices, threat modeling practices, and one of the diagrams that Satnam showed earlier on the slide, which is our architecture that we are making sure that we are updating it, responding back to FDA, and then conducting the necessary processes to make sure that the data that is processed by the architecture is safe and secure. And lastly, the key point that I like to highlight here is our partnership with quality and regulatory and legal team. They are a partner in this process, and they are guiding us and helping us improve our responses. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Avi. Thank you. And I have a request to all of you. One of the things that we do, and you may remember from last All Hands, is we have a weekly phishing campaign, and you know, Grail's come a long way in terms of our resilience. I think in Q1 we were generally around 17%, came down to about 4% in Q2, and we're turning around 2.5%. But one of the most embarrassing things was last week, because every other leader has been really had a pretty effective way to be able to bring their team's phishing resilience number down close to 0. And last week, our team, which is the technology team, is supposed to be the most savvy, had the highest click-through rate. So my humble request to all of you is please, 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 if you can complete your training, there's some really enhanced training, and just please be careful. And when you click on anything that looks fishy, right? So we'd love to be the top of the top, right? Close to 0 as much as possible. Thank you. And next, I think we're going to have Tristan. Is it Tristan or Lauren?
Lauren, I can't remember if I'm talking to this or you, but...
Yeah, all you, Tristan.
Why don't you talk to it, and then I can go through the numbers at the bottom real quick.
No, sorry, it's all you.
Oh, sorry, never mind. We're running CV. It's going well-ish. It's going better than it was before. So we'll start with the graph at the bottom, because everybody's like, how's it going, how's it going? When we kicked it off, you can see that red line dipped. That was bad. Everyone freaked out. From the fragment analyzer data and everything, we're predicting it's going back up. The recent data for commercial looks really well. The burn down chart, that's just loading numbers for how far through CV we are. So we've lost some time, right? Because we paused loading samples. Turns out if we hadn't paused, we would have gotten a lovely window and the graphs would have been even better. But we're catching back up. Yeah, sorry, I moved the graph off the bottom. That is batch numbers. Just processed through the lab, and that's actually commercial data, not CV data, because I don't have that pretty graph with historic stuff for CV data, because CV just started. And then the red line is pass rate on a sample level. No, the red line's overall pass rate. The blue line is pass rate if you remove batch failures, so individual well samples. But mainly I look at the red line there, and then the big dip is why everybody got concerned. Because right when we started loading CV samples, we fell off of a cliff, and hence everyone freaked out. But as you can see, there's been other dips in the past. Those have mainly been explained and fixed. The recent thing going on in the lab is why everybody was like, oh my God. We have run very, very large studies. So even if that drops all the way down to like the 70% line for all 200 batches of CV, it's not going to endanger PMA approval. It will endanger the quality of the product and the claims we can make, which is why everyone is very concerned. But I'm trying to be reassuring that we're like, CV is going poorly, rework all of these things. Like, Grail's good. Like this is not going to endanger the PMA. So I just want everybody to understand that, we're very concerned because we want the product to be as good as possible, but timelines and stuff matter. So the nuance is there. Other sort of key highlights from the lab is a whole lot of changes and stuff that were made for Mod 4 and the documentation and getting all that through. And then we have the BSC rework in there. So if this does dip again, chemically we know how to go save the samples, re-get the DNA, which is binding too tightly to the magnetic beads, off of them or reprocess and recover it. If we have to go that route, it's not only like expensive and a lot of work, it's also a significant timeline delay because you have to go validate that everything works. So we're hoping that that green line keeps trending back up and CV goes great and we don't have to go do rework, but we have rework there as a backstop because we believe in hedging our bets. So that's the update from the lab. And I know that we're talking a lot about CV, but we thought people would like to see some numbers about how it's going.
Thank you, Tristan. I think next we're going to have Amrit come up and give a quick update. I know it's 9:31, so we'll try and pick up the pace.
Try the other mic. Try the other mic.
Okay. Technology. Hello, so I'm here to give updates regarding commercial and pre-post. Past this month, the past couple of months, there have been a huge push from the pre-post team and commercial team to address all these Mod 4 issues that, or Mod 4 issues as just preparing for Mod 4. And this was a very collaborative effort between the pre-post commercial team as well as the UK team who who are responsible for Grailbook. And the main sort of underlying theme was moving away from vanadium into gRPC. And so this was like a very multi-team effort that spanned like this very concentrated month or 2 months that everybody pitched in. And also as well as the SRE team, because we work closely with them to make sure that everything's working. And so that's, we have kind of gone over the hump of the vanadium to gRPC. But there's still some stragglers that we're continuing to address, and I'll cover that in a bit. And so as part of that effort, pre-post team and LIMS team have also been working together to remove this vanadium, whether it's from vanadium over to gRPC or from vanadium over to REST. And some of the dates, like for the previous point I mentioned, all of that is coming together for the July release, and the pre-post and LIMS sort of removal is coming together in the August release. So we're making huge progress in these two releases. They're going to be long releases, so be ready for late nights because we usually do them at the night. And we have another one that's an off-cycle commercial release that's planned, just again, to remove, to deprecate some old technology or old services that we've been using that's for vanadium. So that's scheduled to be in mid-August. So I'm hoping that as we go towards the end of the quarter, we're in a vanadium-free world, or we have some residual systems that are just deprecated or not, we don't touch them anymore. So in terms of forward-looking stuff, there is, like I said, we're finishing up the tail end of vanadium for all these commercial as well as pre-post systems. Some important projects that have been going on, and that's called the Provider Portal onboarding, or some of you may know as Provider Portal Lite. We've kind of kicked off the development for it, and we've engaged with the marketing, Salesforce Marketing Cloud team to use that as a vehicle to integrate this, the Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Other things is our current Provider Portal has, when it was built over time, we just had the gallery test. So there was a lot of shortcuts taken to meet some timelines, and we're now taking the effort to sort of upgrade this portal to support international ordering, whether it's a different TRF and a different TRR, that sort of thing. So that work has kind of kicked off. And lastly, we're going to continue to work on this 3-year software roadmap. Any questions?
Thank
All right.
Thanks. And I know that it's 9:36. I think we have a lot of content that the team has prepared. So I think maybe what we're going to do is extend it by 15 minutes as opposed to trying to rush things. If you're not able to stay, that's fine. But those who can stay, please stay. Next, we have a lot of exciting things happening in the UK. Sean's going to walk us through it.
Hey everybody from the London office. I'm not Ileana, I am Sean. I feel like that cat meme guy in that video you saw during lockdown. First updates kind of exciting ones, a bit off-piste, but we've had an office reshuffle here, so you know, rather than seeing those blank desks next to us of people who no longer work with us, we've moved around, we've re-energized, and it's brought us closer together, which we're really excited by. Oh, now on the big screen probably. New faces, yes, we've had 2 new faces that have been awesome, so sending loads of love to Amer and James. I'm sure you might hear from them in a little bit. And we're embracing return to the office. So some of you might know that we've always been doing a bit of this in the UK anyway. I know we're aided here by that transport network, but we are going to be now leaning into a commitment of 3 days in the office together with a flexible 3rd day of each people's choosing. I'm going to now invite some of my favourite colleagues, Osop and Ileana, to talk very, very quickly, I think, to some of the amazing things our small, incredible, mighty team are doing in the UK.
Thanks. I'll kick it off. Thanks, Sean. So first off, quick update on Scrums, which is the application that supports the Summit clinical trial. So we are approaching the final stages of decommissioning Scrums. Earlier this year, we were able to get the quality approval for the plan. And as a result, we were able to shut off the Scrums UI, which in turn allowed us to reduce some costs. So next online for us is to ultimately get the sign-off from our stakeholders. And then once the data lock is confirmed, we'll be able to securely transfer the data and hopefully complete the decommission. And then next is still me, so CRP. Moving on to CRP. At the beginning of the year, we were continuing to support our monthly releases, and this was on both feature work and also security. And on the security front, the team have completed the threat modeling, as well as migrated the RIT transfer, which is the randomization tool that we use with AstraZeneca, from password-based to PKI. And another huge milestone is that the RUM manifest validation feature that we worked on last year has finally rolled out to AZ, and we were able to successfully upload 2 manifests overall for 2 different projects. So we will be continuing to iterate on that, and yeah, more to come on that soon.
Thank you very much, Osop and Sean. Now, one of the things that excites almost everybody, and there's a huge transformation that's happening within the software engineering world outside of Grail, and that is the use of Gen AI tools to be able to do, now people talk about 10x productivity. I think that seems to be the bar, that every software developer is able to do the work of 10x people. So there's a huge amount of innovation happening here, and we have a cross-functional team. We have Jeffrey, Sudarshan, Will, many people across Grail helping us decide what are the different tools that we want to go after. I want to invite Jeffrey, who's here, to come give a quick overview.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeffrey. I'm on the data software team. I work on Tidy. And for those of you who know me, I like to talk about AI-assisted code development a lot. And so yeah, as Satnam mentioned, we're in this really exciting phase right now where we're evaluating a bunch of options for how to bring some of these tools with enterprise licenses or some creative solutions to you all in the software org. There's kind of 3 main classes of tools that we're looking at. The first is AI-assisted integrated development environments or code editors. So these are tools like Cursor or Windsurf or Amazon's Cairo that have a bunch of features like tab to autocomplete or editing code in natural language or chatting with your code base, or even agentic workflows where you can kind of have AI agents actually execute tasks. There's another class of tools, kind of like plugins to your existing code editors. So these are things like Continue or GitHub Copilot or Amazon Q Developer that allow you to have kind of a subset of these features that are in IDEs, like autocomplete or chat with your code base. And kind of the third class of tools are CLI tools, so things like Anthropic's Claude Code or OpenAI's Codex. These allow you some really cool agentic workflows straight from the terminal. And so over the past month, I've been reaching out to a ton of vendors and kind of getting a sense of the different price points, as well as security and actual efficiency that these various tool options will bring us. And we had a working group where we're really focused on bringing one of these tools in kind of a proof of concept trial phase sometime in the near future. So that's what we've been doing. One of the ways that you all can help we put together this survey. If you could, I think Sudarshan's going to send out a link in the all hands Slack channel. It's just a few questions, but basically, if you could answer what tools you're most excited about, or if you're even excited about this area at all, that'll help us kind of gather data and make an informed decision about how to move forward. Thanks, team.
Thank you very much. Next we have Alex talking about the work happening on the platform team. Please, it's not for me to read from there, but. So, can you guys hear me? Platform team, just to ground it, there's a collection of what in old days we called SRE, DevOps, and also on-prem infrastructure engineering. So when it's a platform, just keep in mind that collection of that team to begin with. Team has been very busy. They have been really focused beside their day job on NIST score, as Avi mentioned as well. To give you a background, when we were interviewing the candidates for VP of Security, we brought up our lofty goal of achieving 3.25. They thought that we are kind of insane and this is a 2-year journey before we can reach to it. But celebrating it today as we are at 3.29 in Q3, and hopefully we're going to reach 3.5. I appreciate everybody's efforts, both from security team, product team that collaborated with us, as well as platform team to make the improvement. What else we have been busy? We have brought privilege access management to ensure that the important data access securely. We have been in process of deploying for S3, and I know that there have been questions. S3 doesn't need it. It is only for S3 where there's an EC2 and CLI environment connected to S3. EKSA, on-prem, and most of the database are getting onboarded as well, collaboration with the Ravi and database team. On the network side, we have been evaluating network access control to better security and market segmentation with Juniper, which is in progress. We have deployed the WAF in quite a bit of products, as well as we are in process of deploying Armis, cloud-based asset management. It will give us visibility to everything is connected to our network. So be careful if you are bringing devices connected to our network, we will have full visibility on them. We have been also making quite a bit of progress on shadow IT, looking and evaluating security and productivity of each of the tools, making sure products with high security, they are eliminated or we are actually in a controlled environment. And also other items we're doing, monitoring and detection and response solutions. We have been running some hackathon, bringing agentic AIs and some of the modern tools to improve that process. We have been bringing insider threat monitoring tools, ensuring that our data doesn't leave, assets and confidential data doesn't leave our network, and also bringing file integrity monitoring, ensuring that none of the file and content and configuration changes without a change control and process. Let's see. On CIS wins, I won't go through that many details, but we have been able to improve our scores from teens to about 70 to 90%, depending on which environment we are. We will not see 100% because some of the CIS benchmark might conflict with the applications we are running, so we have been judicious that not to push the envelope too far and cause chaos. That's it. There's one more. I didn't stop. You get. Oh. Actually, I wouldn't go through this. You can read through it, And that's that.
We had over 35 people from Grail. We had 12 people from Salesforce. 9 of them came on site. But again, the goal was just to get this sense of one team and to make sure people understood that if they're making decisions for their project, it affects all of it. And we did, again, we had a lot of the product team for the Angela presented. Get stuff done. But the entire product and program teams were part of that. 5 weeks later from that first meeting. We talked about Epic, and there's a lot of business models on that. We heard a lot yesterday on international strategy. There was a bunch on the analytical lab. We looked at more on Salesforce. We looked at the future for Salesforce and some potential new acquisitions there. But a big thing, like coming out of this PT presentation, was we need a lot more focus on workflows. We need holistic solutions. We can't have just teams doing things optimized for their team. We have to look across all of it. So there's going to be a lot more of that. We're going to be diving more into other enterprise apps, like say NetSuite and Visual were called out. Like, there's developers that are in other groups outside of our team. What are they doing? Are they partnering with us? Are they making decisions that impact the work that we need to do? So we just need to be more aware of all that and look programmatically at all. So, and part of this is the next big phase now is AOP, so it's all going to be leading into that.
Just sort of three quick points to hit. The first one is we're also doing data governance, figuring out WIMO and things like that. So a lot of the systems that access data and everything, we're going to get updated. We're not forcing everyone to migrate by the end of the year, but we are rolling out the new solutions and starting to go migrate. So we're going to be looking for some pilot people to do that. So big push for data governance. Big push for the end of the year. Second is huge shout out to the Tidy team for getting the final AV release out really quickly. Jeffrey, and he's here who's smiling. But yeah, huge shout out to that cross-functionally across Sharon's group and everybody that's there. And then we just wanted to let everybody know that post-CV sample processing, Tidy data is going to be on the critical path for the PMA. Until we have the data sets ready, they can't look at them and process them and do the next things. So call it early September if everything goes well. Tidy's going to be on the critical path. Treat them well as they're turning that data set around really quickly.
Thank you, Tristan. In the next 20 minutes, let me try and bring this thing home. Next is the most exciting part, which is the talent section. And thanks to Martha. And remember, we also will have a number of introductions coming in. We're very fortunate to have 4 new team members join in. And so the mid-year has happened, and we take talent very, very seriously. There's a lot of investments that go in associated with making sure that we're giving a path to all of you to growing the organization. Promotions are also going to be coming up. Remember, there's a combination of a business need as well as your individual readiness for the next role. One of the other exciting things, at the last all hands, you may remember, I think Olga and Tristan had talked about the technical promotion review process. So that is in full flow. I want to thank all those who have submitted, as well as all of the reviewers who have been going through the process. This is a huge enhancement to our process to make sure that we are doing this in an unbiased way. So more at our next all hands, where we'll go in a little bit more deeper on the progress happening here. Next is building your career at Grail. There's a huge amount of investment that Martha and Allison and the HR team have put in, whether it is investing in yourself, being able to find your strengths through the Strength Finder, all of the performance, all of these workshops as well as resources are available on our internet. If you have any questions, feel free to ask Martha. She's always available on Slack. And then building your career is a big initiative that's happening company-wide. In terms of our culture and value, I've thoroughly enjoyed the many meetings and the opportunity to see, I think most of you. If you're not on the list, feel free to send a message to Dolores and me and we'll get you on the list. One of the interesting things that I found is the number one thing here in Adams is the office is very cold. Everyone is freezing, so that feedback's going to be passed back. Everyone wants to try and understand what's happening with Grail, what's the general strategy, what's the strategy for software. There's a huge amount of excitement that happens whenever anyone talks about the use of AI, and we want to be on the forefront of adopting these AI tools. We want to push the envelope in terms of technology. That's how you generate value in a safe and secure way. So more on that. And then we also have a tremendous amount of cultural ambassadors. Martha, is Sean gonna talk or yeah, okay. Sean, did you want?
Yeah, happy to. Flip to the next slide. You know me, always happy to talk. This is how Stanley, Jeffrey and I are keeping track of all the work we're doing to support you in a culture ambassador situation. You see the bolded items I'll call out. So we've had some fantastic leadership inclusion and vibe checks. So we've had the likes of Tristan, Milan and Saturn joining us, which has really then aided us and kind of bringing that face-to-face communication with the top line leadership level. Also then, yes, as Saturn was mentioned, his munch and mingle sessions, those check-ins, some of the feedback I've had so far is really, really positive. People that haven't maybe had the chance to, or we're still working on confidence in lots of areas to be able to speak and share feelings up and down the chain is really helping in that way, I think. From the next kind of point, the next row, there's some really important parts. I'm not going to skip over them because I think they deserve more than that around DE&I changing to culture and belonging. Sean just done some fantastic work on this, and if you've been involved in any of the sessions that she has led, I've been trying to get her into one of these sessions, and I'm definitely going to do that because I'm not best placed to speak to that from a training point of view, but I think there's some really valuable things in there that affect many of us, and we all care deeply about it. Grail's mission remains the same, but I think it's important that we understand kind of where and why we're kind of heading in the direction we're going in. On a mentoring and skills exchange perspective, some of the networking sessions, I know Saturn just touched on it briefly, highly recommend it. We've had some really good sessions from around the company, so folks wanting to learn about data science, about the biologies, the chemistry, all the kind of some of the technical pieces. Some really great connections kind of being built out of those sessions. Do get involved. I cannot stress it highly enough how valuable those are, but we'll keep bringing you updates as they come.
Sean, thank you to all of the cultural ambassadors, Stanley and Jeffrey and Sean. Next, super excited to welcome Danny. I think he was here. Alex, he may have stepped out, maybe we haven't come back and
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Go ahead, Danny, go and just quickly introduce yourself.
Yeah, so sorry I didn't know the whole meeting was in Adam. So I joined Grail in July, and I'm under the incident response team under Alex and Abby. Naturally, my focus is really to strengthen how we handle incidents by looking at refining a response plan, reducing security risks, and most importantly, protect the user data. And I'm also looking at the tooling enhancement. So overall, just improve over productivity. And in my spare time, I really like running. I completed 5 marathons, and I look forward to running with some of you, and perhaps participating in next year's San Francisco Marathon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danny. Next, we have James in London.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I joined Grail back in June, joining the UK software team under Jacob. I've got a kind of background in medtech industry, working at Biofidelity, helping develop their biomarker testing platform for non-small cell lung cancers, and then before that CMR Surgical, working with surgical robotics and developing their system. Really excited to join the company and help everyone succeed in the mission we're trying to achieve. Some facts about me: I grew up around Chester in the UK with some stints in Houston, Texas and in Perth as well. Outside of work, I enjoy running, gaming and occasionally some astrophotography when it's not cloudy here in the UK.
Thank you, James. Next we have Pablo. I think he's here.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Pablo Barua. It's been 5 months and really enjoying this. There's a lot of activities happening. as you say, drinking from the fire hose. This is exactly it. And I have quite a bit of experience, 20 years. The last job I had with Kaiser, across the board, worked with DevOps, SecOps, and platform teams. The similar situations, modernizing their pipelines and modernizing their CI/CDs, and then basically securing their environments and all. Anyway, besides solving things, I also play soccer and other activities. And here it is. And thank you for welcoming. And this has been great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pablo. Next we have Sasan.
Mic check, mic check. Hello everyone. Joined about 5 weeks ago and I'm excited to be here. Haven't been in biotech. In my career, I've primarily been in energy. Started off in oil and gas, working in the Middle East and North America. Fun fact, I've been in all temperature ranges, all the way from 144 degrees Fahrenheit to -50. So working in that type of environment. Yeah, I'm really excited about coming into the biotech sector and bringing my cross-functional experience. Outside of work, I like to travel, been to 52 countries, and I like playing sports, pick up basketball, pickleball, anything of that nature. And then a little fact, Grail was a very special offer that was extended to me. I recently had a family member pass away from pancreatic cancer, so I know how it affects everyone, so when this opportunity came up, it was a calling, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
52 countries. That's impressive. Okay, next we have Brandon. I think Brandon is also here. Alex?
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm new to Grail and I think this is my third or fourth week, so still very new. It's been very enjoyable so far. I have a background in distributed systems for different industries, from web hosting to ad delivery to biotech to web hosting to other things. So I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Actually, I think Andrew also was from Madison, which I found out about too. So go Packers. I'm a pretty avid car enthusiast. I do a lot of drag racing. I've done some competitive powerlifting as well, but now I'm getting a little older, not doing it as much, but also hobbies for like board games and card games and stuff, so I very much enjoy. So very glad to be here. I've really enjoyed, I think the environment is very challenging, so I'm really looking forward to moving forward with it. So.
Thank you, Brendan. And let me bring this thing home. So we have a number of accomplishments, and I'll begin with the top left-hand side and then go sequentially across the columns. Huge shout out to Dexter, who diligently worked on resolving the issues that came out from the threat modeling for both Prepost and TRGS. Steven and Wani on the product delivery team for their work associated with the rework. Huge shout out to Premlata, Smriti, Stanley, the whole team, the TNT team, Archana, Craig, for all of their dedication and work to be able to help us get the Mod 4 documentation as well as the verification and validation plan in time. On the security side, to Ryan Boyle, I think I thought I saw him, or I may have seen him yesterday. Dr. Vidisha, I think she also recently got her PhD for their work on the Tiger team. Gopi and Joe for their work to fix LIMS report rework, which has been a real challenge for the last 3 or 4 years. A huge shout out to Abhishek, who's here, and Panjan, who's also not only here. They've done a fantastic job at being able to work across the teams. I was in a couple of sessions where they were doing the threat modeling, presenting it to senior management, and just the quality of the output is really impressive. I don't think we would have been able to do without their tremendous amount of work. Anoop, for all of his unmatched perseverance to drive the Mod 4 project forward and to coordinate everything. On the platform engineering side, we heard a lot from Alex, the CIS benchmark, Jackson, and Boyce. Done a great job at the firewall cutover that was done, I think, during the break. They've also saved money associated with the new appliances. Michelle is here for her work on the data lake. Andrew, Abhishek, and Shrey for deploying the privileged access management solution. The EKS cutover was done by Jaren, who's based out of the East Coast. And then on the network pen test that was done, a huge shout out to Jackson, Boyce, Sasan, Vidhi, and Ryan. And the results from our pen test also came out good. Next, on the next slide, is on the sys infra side, a huge shout out to Joe for working with the ML team, Ajar for handling the GSS for Mod 4, Shashank for managing the complex version 5.8 test plan. It is great to have a tester now with sys infra, and we are expecting Olga that the amount of intensity increases or the throughput increases tremendously. On the Classy side, thanks to the whole team for enabling BSC rework for CV that we talked about. Claudia for doing the meticulous, tedious work for moving Atlas to the new Cadence client. Kusha for successfully executing the complex LIMS instrument service, cut over from VRPC, Sneha, Elijah, Rex, and Sudarshan for collaborating effectively to enable concurrent creation of batch tags. On the IT and the enterprise side, Joel for successful ServiceNow migration that also saved us, I think, more than $100,000. Naveen Kare for fixing the BioTouch integration issue, Li Ju for supporting the releases for the validated enterprise applications, Topher for the endpoint security and fleet management, Wilson for Zuluri, Ikagra for Workday Talent module, and then on the IT service delivery side, Ricardo for helping the help desk app to streamline the help desk communication, Johnny and Ben for spearheading Okta workflows, Thomas for leading the initiative to better support RTP lab environment, Anoop and Ramya for getting the Mod 4 work done on Ed's team, Julie, Angela, Ratan, and Julie for the excellent presentation in the recent summit. There was a tremendous amount of effort that was put into the summit that was here about 2 weeks, and a big shout out to Ed also for driving it. Archana for driving the software module phase 2 activities, with Craig for processing a high volume of documents to effectiveness in Viva. I've learned a lot about just the processes and policies, and it all finally ends with Craig. So Craig, thank you for all of the work. Alex for getting the AV 2.0 tidy release. Wilson, Dan, Alex, Samir, Freya, Stephanie, Anoop for moving BSI to Zuluri. And then a big shout out to Dolores, who's done a phenomenal job at setting up and coordinating the Munch and Mingles, and to Martha for the tremendous work that she always does to coordinate these all hands. And you see this beautiful picture, Boyce recently won the ping pong tournament in RTP. I know we took a little bit longer. It's been about eight minutes extra. I want to thank all of you for the tremendous amount of work. I think we'll also make it let's just make an effort to have this on a 4-week cadence basis, just the amount of content comes down. I'm a little bit hesitant to open it up for questions, just given how late we are. But I do. Okay. So I want to thank all of you. It's a tremendous time here at Grail. And what each one of you is doing is making a big impact. It's tremendous. We should celebrate once we submit our Mod 4 in the month of August. Tremendous amount of progress made by the platform team on the NIST side. tremendous amount of work to be able to make Steenie successful, but the lab team and the commercial team is executing and making a big impact on business. So thank you all for all of the work, and I'll see you soon, hopefully within the next 4 weeks. Thank you.